Hello students, I am Dr. Venugopal. In this video, we shall have a beautiful discussion on judicial review, its genesis and analysis. So, genesis and analysis of judicial review. That's what we are going to discuss here. What is judicial review? Judicial review is nothing but reviewing the laws, the orders, rules and regulations made by the legislature or executive body, whether they are right or not, correct or not, whether they are in consonance with the law of the land or against it. If they are not in consonance with the law of the land, they will be rectified, modified, reviewed with the power of the judiciary. That is judicial review. So judiciary has the power of review. And the origin of this judicial review can be traced back in Marbury versus Madison case, where Chief Justice Marshall has pointed out that any law made by the legislature should be in consonance with the law of the land, that is constitution. If any law or order is against the constitution, it should not be treated as correct law. It should be treated as null and void. It can be struck off. That's what he says. So there, the judicial review for the first time has emerged. The objective of this judicial review is this: limiting the government, because government. There are three organs of the government, as you know very well, that legislature, executive and judiciary. And this judiciary will have the control, the checking, the supervision on these two organs of the government, that is legislature and executive. The legislature will be generally prone to some corrupt practices, some illegality, sometimes under a delegation of power to the ministry. The ministry, particular ministry, will be misusing it, exploiting. So illegality, there is every scope for illegality in the part of the legislature. If any such law which is against the constitution, it will be struck off, it will be reviewed. What is correct law? And what is the final law, how it is to be finalized, that will be made by the judicial review. And on the part of executive also, sometimes, not sometimes, many a time, the executive will be resorting to some corrupt practices and excessive power, arbitrary power in respect of citizens, in respect of workers, employees, organizations, some agencies. And it is said, according to the latest reports, that 65% of the cases pending the Supreme Court and different high courts in our country are related to issues related to government servants. Very surprising thing. So there is every scope, every need for the judicial review. It is very clear by this. And what is the scope? Next point is, what is the scope of this judicial review? The scope of judicial review is, judiciary's main focus will be on the protection of fundamental rights, interpretation of the laws, any law for that matter, whatever, apart from the constitution, any law made by either legislature or executive body, any law or order or rules, interpretation will be made by the judiciary. So the scope here is extended to three roles of the judiciary, that is protector of the fundamental rights, and interpretational role, and observer role. These three roles the judiciary will be playing. But very interesting thing is, nowhere the phrase judicial review is mentioned in the constitution, Indian constitution for that matter. But how we can refer to this judicial review? This judicial review can be traced or can be discernible from some provisions of the Indian Constitution, and these provisions are Article 13, Article 32, 226, 131, 132, 31B and 137 of the Indian Constitution. So, by studying these provisions, articles, we can find out the inner layers of the judicial review. And now we shall study one by one. Article 13 says that any law, any order made by the legislature or executive body in the country should be in consonance with the constitutional law. If it is against constitutional law, it will become null and void. So that is the source, key source of judicial review, we can say. And Article 32 and 226 talk about the fundamental rights of the citizens. If the fundamental rights are violated, one can file a petition in the Supreme Court directly according to Article 32, and according to Article 226, one can file a petition in State High Court, any High Court for that matter. So writ petitions can be filed according to Article 32 and 226 whenever there is a violation of fundamental rights. And according to these two articles, the Supreme Court or even High Court, the Apex Court, can take a case as a suo motu, and very specially public interest litigation cases. In this, as in the case of M.C. Mehta, most reputed advocate, who used to fight for fundamental rights by way of number of public interest litigations. And now when we come to Article 131, that refers to the original jurisdiction of the Supreme Court, and 132 refers to the appellate jurisdiction of Supreme Court whenever there is a clash between or a conflict of law happens between the state and the center, state government and the central government. So these provisions, by studying these provisions keenly, dwelling deep into these provisions and the layers of the law, we can trace out the judicial review, the power of judicial review that is bestowed to the Supreme Court or even the High Court. But one thing to be noted here is all judicial reviews may be judicial activism, but all judicial activism may not be judicial review. It's just like all contracts are agreements, but all agreements are not contracts. In the same way here, all judicial reviews may have the judicial activism, but all judicial activism may not have the judicial review, because the thing is, in judicial review, there will be a controversy. See, whenever there is a controversy or review petitions or a serious conflict or long-standing legal conflicts, then the judiciary will have the key role of reviewing the law, reviewing the precedents, already decided cases. Particularly, see, when there is a conflict or there is a review petition against the decided cases or maybe precedents, then arises a specific judicial review, and with a special reference to the Article 31B and Article 137, we shall study the specific judicial review in the second part of the judicial review. Thank you for watching.